it's recording now.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello, Russia.
So, мы с моим французским другом и соседом из хостела приехали на Байкал, в Листвянку, поднялись на камень Черского, и сейчас я этому товарищу задам несколько вопросов.
Bonjour, my name is Artur, and I'm 25 years old. Yeah.
Yes. So, Итак. So you are traveling to Russia.
Yep.
Why you're traveling to Russia? What is the reason of travel here?
Because I have to go to Australia, so I think Russia is on the way for me from France, and mostly Russia because we have a lot of stereotypes about Russia in Europe and everything, and we say a lot of things about Russian, and I don't like stereotypes, so I wanted to
we'll
see.
Speak about that later.
I wanted to see if everything is true, you know.
And say something about the road in Russia. So what is the road?
Yeah, the main interest in Russia for me is to do the Trans-Siberian railway, you know, because in Europe it's very popular because there's a lot of mystery about this road, and a lot of people say it's an adventure you have to make in your life, you know, do the whole trip or from
whole Russia.
Yeah, from Moscow to Vladivostok, or maybe some people like to stop in Ulan-Ude and then go to Beijing, but
not the whole.
Not all Russia, because I don't know if there is a lot of things between Ulan-Ude and Vladivostok. So
yes, I think they are common, but in Vladivostok you can see the ocean.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to see too, swim in the Pacific.
Swimming the Pacific to Japan.
To Japan, yeah, why not?
I wanted to ask you who you were working, who were you in France?
Yeah, I lived in the north of France, so in Lille, and I was working the last few months. I was working in a restaurant as a cook, as a chef. Yeah, sous chef.
Sous chef, secondary.
Yeah, secondary.
And the most interesting question for Russians, how much you earned money? What was the salary?
The salary was about 1,500 euros a month.
1,500 euro a month.
Yeah. So this is common for the job I was making in France.
This is the usual price.
Yeah, and I work 5 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 days off, and I work about 40 hours a week.
40 hours a week. And is that money enough for to have the good living? So is it enough for renting flat, to have time with your friends, travel, or everything?
Yeah,
how much you must pay money? How much money you pay for the rent?
The rent is about in the north of France. It's not expensive, so I'm quite lucky, you know. But I paid about 500 euros a month
for the one-room flat.
For 2-room, I have my room where I sleep, and the place where I watch TV. The other room where I watch TV, and I can cook in this.
Guest room.
Yeah.
Guest room and the kitchen together.
Yeah.
I understand.
Okay, and then.
Как у тебя, Дениска, да? Только у тебя еще есть драм-машина в отдельной комнате.
And then you have to pay about 50 euros for electricity and.
For the month.
Yeah.
And this is not depending on how much electricity you will take.
Yeah, but.
You see?
It's coming.
It's coming.
Winter is coming.
Winter is coming. We don't. Вот там, находится Байкал, но мы его не видим, потому что какой-то туман на гору поднимается, и буквально видно его прямо вот здесь, то есть он гуляет между нами.
Блядь.
For electricity, you pay 50 and...
It's around 50, you know. It's sometime in winter it will be 60, 70, and in summer it will be 30 or 40 maybe. And then, at the end of the month I can save maybe 200, 300 euros.
After everything, you pay, you go with the friends.
Yeah. I can drink beers, I can go to cinema, I can do sports, and then at the end of the month I can save 200 euros, I think.
200 euros. No, but this is normal, I think, just like after everything. So you
Yeah.
can not go to drink beer a lot, and you will collect more like
Yeah.
profit or
Like the last few months in France, I collected more money because I knew I was going to travel for a long time. So
I need to keep more money.
Yeah.
And now you are not working. Yes, this is the interesting thing.
Yeah,
This is fucking interesting thing.
I know you like this
So,
one.
Yeah, you are not working, and what is the? You know what I want to ask
Yeah.
you. So what is
So
happening?
in France, we are quite lucky because when you lose your job, when you get fired or anything, I mean, if you quit, you don't get this money. You know, if
By your own choice, but if somebody kick you out,
Yeah.
or the company is closing,
you get like it's an unemployment
salary
or
yeah.
something. So if you work for more than 6 months, you have the right to get this salary, and it's about, I don't know the exact percent, but it's about 60 or 70% of what you were earning before. So, for example, for me, at the end of the month, I will get 900 euros for traveling. Or this is illegal because I should be in France looking for a job, but it's easy to cheat.
But
so
you have the friend.
I have my friend who can just put the information on internet for me, and I get the
У меня
money.
есть подсадная утка, которая сидит, хороший дружище, который сидит во Франции, в Париже, и от его имени отправляет работодателям письма, что якобы он ищет работу, и потом он в какую-то там службу, якобы от него же исходят письма, что вот я пытаюсь найти работу, но ничего не получается, и он получает 900 евро в месяц на путешествие. Вот почему европейцы так много путешествуют, потому что им просто государство платит бабки, а они все не работают. Army. Have you been in army?
Yeah, I heard a lot about Russian army and people telling me I've been there 2 years or 1 year, or I've been 1 day. Like,
So this every young guy,
yeah, when you're,
18,
I don't remember if it's 16 or 18, but you have to go 1 day to the army, and it's like 1 day where they look if you can read, if you
read,
yeah.
like, oh, если ты можешь читать, ты хороший солдат. You're a good soldier if you can read.
Yeah, it's just, to check, and
Like you're not down, yes?
yeah, like you're not stupid or anything, and they talk something about the army, about there is marine, there is yeah, I don't know how to say in English, but you can be in the marine, in the plane, in
Yes.
the
Air
different
forces.
different army, kind of army, and that's all. You get there at 9 in the morning, and at 6 in the afternoon you're like free to go.
So that's all.
That's all.
And you have got the like stamp or a special document.
Certificates, and you need this certificate, for example, to go to university. So it's quite important you can't skip the.
You can't skip 1 day.
You can't skip the army in France. You have to be there.
This is ridiculous.
Yep.
I wanted to ask you about the old person. How old person live in France, and how much money do they earn?
They earn approximately the same as I am earning
Like
now.
about 900 euros
Yeah.
a month.
For most old people get this. I mean, some can have bigger
More because they were
because they earn more money.
and working a lot of years.
Yeah.
And do they have special rights like cheaper transport or something like that?
In some places, it depends on the city, on the mayor of the city, on the politic of the city. So sometimes they can have like cheap museum, cheap movies, cheap cinema, but not so much. Yeah.
But I'm sure that they don't drink so much beer or wine,
no.
so they can collect a lot of money. So
Yeah,
that's why they can travel so much.
Most of them collect a lot of money. Like for example, my grandmother, she collects money, and every year she has like one trip, like 2 weeks in Thailand or 2 weeks with a group of old people.
If she gets 900 euros, she can go like to the moon, I think, if she collects a whole year. No?
Yeah, because in France it's very common to buy a house when you're young. You take money from the bank,
Mm-hmm.
and you pay all your life for the house, so you
Like
don't have to rent.
Hypothèque, like
Yeah. and you don't have to, when you're old, you don't have to pay every month. You know, it's already done, and so. But old people, it's not so easy in France. You know.
What is the difficulties to them?
Because
The cheese, wine. Looks like.
I mean, for French people, it's sometimes difficult. I know it's nothing for you, but it can be like.
What is the most difficult thing to be an old person in France?
In France, everything is good in the cities, but in the villages, many old people live in villages, and public transport is not good, and they can't drive anymore, so they have to get a lot of help from their family, and if they don't have good children,
But they earn this money, so it's not.
Chinese.
So it's not. It can be not enough.
Yeah, sometimes it's not enough, and the end of the month is difficult for them, but it depends on people. You know, some people like to buy things and just don't think about saving, and so it depends on people, I think.
But they would live rather worse if they collect like Russian.
Yeah.
Like 200.
Yeah, 200 you can't live in France. Like really, you can't live. You can eat, but you can't pay electricity, or you can't buy new clothes. So.
But
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like if 900 and you pay, for example, like 50 on the electricity. And
Yeah, but
where is the other money?
yeah, in France, your money goes to comfort. You know. So you pay for, you can pay for to have more channels on TV. So it's more every month. You can pay to have, like old people, they like to have special shower or special things, you know, because it's easier for them. So it's like rich
Just
problems,
like
and a lot of people in France, old people, they go to like this houses for old people, you know, and this is really expensive in France.
To be there.
Yeah, because
Don't they feel like they are?
yeah, but it's better to be there sometime than alone in your village.
So the situation, like you are sitting in the bus, the local transport in Paris or no matter where, and the old granny comes in, and what the French guys will do. So in my opinion, French guys are so gentle, so like, madame,
Yeah.
come here. What your reaction will be?
In my opinion, in France, old lady come in the bus, and everybody's like, "We will leave
They
the."
pretended like they're sleeping or they're not.
Yeah,
see, or
they don't see, and you know someone at the end will stand up and give his seat, but you don't want to be this person, you know, because fuck it, you know, like I'm tired or I'm going to work. I want to sit, and that's all. And
so that's the competition, not between you and the old person, but
Yeah.
you and another one younger who will
Yeah.
lose this game.
yeah, but usually we leave our seat for pregnant women and old people. Yeah.
And what about young girls? So young lady comes to the bus. Will you stand up like a musketeer and say
Most of the time, no.
yes?
No.
Because of the women emancipation or what?
Yeah, feminism. Sometimes it can be like bad even if you stand up. And
She will be.
she will be like, "Oh, I'm a grown woman. I can just stand. Fuck you. I'm not an object or anything. You can't." But sometimes
Поняли, девчонки? Не так хороши французы, а вы еще жалуетесь, что ребята вам место не уступают в транспорте.
and sometimes you can, if the girl is beautiful and you like her and you want to flirt or anything, you can try this, but it's like not so good. I mean,
Just like walking on the edge.
yeah. You don't know how she will react. So
But I think like it's no matter how she will react. I think the matter what you will do. The main thing, doings. She can think that's about the women emancipation, but until the time will become when after dating, girls will lead the partner to his apartment and say goodbye, or paying for them. So this is in our abilities, not pretend the emancipation of women by doing these things.
Yeah.
Like, until you will do this, you will be the man in the common sense of like, yes, I'm strong, I can stand, this is nothing for me. I know that I'm doing good and I'm gentleman. And if you are emancipated girl thinking that I'm wrong, okay, darling, I'm a man. I can deal with that, so everything will be okay. So this is our rights to be the man.
Yeah, in France it's more like since maybe 5 or 10 years you hear every day that woman is the equal of man, so there is no reason you stand up and give your seat, you know.
But that means that you can fight with women.
Nope. No,
so this is working only in one direction.
Yeah, sometimes it's working only in one direction. For some stuff like this, you can't fight with women now.
So sometimes we say that this emancipation works not to be equal, but making the men like down.
Yeah.
So
I like to think like I think that too. They want to be equal, but sometimes a little more, you know, like
because a little bit more.
Yeah, because I'm still a woman. Yeah.
Yes, this is the women.
Пиздец.
I want to hear. It's interesting for me. Last years, like opinion people about the weed, and what is your opinion about the weed and mostly common in France?
Yeah. In France, young people, it's like common to smoke weed. I mean, many people smoke weed, and it's really easy to find, and it's quite cheap in some parts of France. Where I'm from, it's really cheap because I'm close to Amsterdam. And
the channel is okay.
Yeah. And I used to smoke a lot of weed in France, like the last few months.
Find the man.
Yes. The last few months, maybe between 2 or 5 joints a day, which is
2 or 5 joints a day. Yes, 5. I think this like more than you eat.
Yeah,
like you eat 3 times or 4 times a day.
Yes, yeah. So
he's look young and not like
a toxicoman or
drug addicted.
Yeah. And when I arrived in Russia, it was like from one day to the other, I just stopped smoking from 5 to 0, you know.
Yeah, because when you are in other country and where the laws you don't know for sure, it's better not to.
You always respect the rules because you don't want troubles, you know. It's not your place, you don't know what can happen, and it was okay for me to stop. I mean, like it's no problem. I had some.
You don't like. I want to do something.
The first few days I had some trouble to fall asleep because weed is like helping a lot to sleep. And that's all. I mean, no big deal. I'm not losing my mind. I don't have 2 personalities. I don't speak to myself. I'm okay.
And what about the parents? How your parents are?
Yeah,
they know?
My father doesn't know, and my father is like old-fashioned. You know, he's like he wouldn't like me smoking. But my mother, she's more open-minded.
Liberal.
Yeah. And I smoked joints with her like 3 or 4 times maybe.
Oh, oof.
And we ended up with my mom. One time I ended up smoking with my little brother.
Little brother, okay, let's.
He was 19 maybe at that time. So
okay.
yeah.
He was 4 or 5.
No. And in France now it's becoming more and more common to talk about weed, and every year there is the question: should we legalize weed or should we be more open about weed? And now there is the CBD, which is you can find shops in the streets selling CBD.
В травке просто содержится 2 вещества, это ТГК и КБД. ТГК делает этот вот бодрящий эффект, который люди пробовали, знают, что за эффект травки. А КБД это более такой медицинский эффект, и бридеры, я не знаю, биологи выводят сорта конопли, которые почти не содержат ТГК, но содержат только вот эти, не знаю, КБД, соединения CBD. И сейчас Артур расскажет про CBD.
Yeah.
You were speaking about CBD, what is happening to you when you use it.
Yeah, I like to use it. I used it, for example, before sport, to be more relaxed, and I know I don't think, after CBD I'm like my body is like ready.
Super strong.
Not super strong, but some people say to
Concentrate.
to do sport you have to focus, and you have not to you have to relax. If you're relaxed and cool, you will do the movement will
not
be
thinking about.
the movement will be more fluid. So, for example, I play
fluid move.
I play handball in France, and before some games, some matches, I used to smoke and like one joint of CBD, and I mean it's okay, and I was fine.
Unfortunately, when I was in Holland, I didn't try CBD joint, only the regular.
Yeah, and for example, my mother, she has a problem to sleep, and so I go on Amazon and buy some CBD for her.
You can order this in France?
Yeah, on Amazon or...
So this is legal, so you cannot buy THC joints, but only CBD.
Yeah, you can buy CBD, you can buy the grass, or you can buy oil, or you can
pills,
or maybe even tea, I think, maybe. And my mother, she used to take oil, and so before that she slept like 3 or 4 hours every night, and after that she slept like normal human. Yeah.
Oh, I think we can make the break.
Yep.
About the journey in whole, like why are you go to that trip? Because this is interesting for me, especially because I'm asking sometimes myself why I go there.
I think I was not happy in France, like I didn't like what was going on.
Like rhythm of life or what?
Yeah, and the routine and everything the same. Every day is the same, like
you are in a circle, right?
Yeah, and I'm just at some point I was telling to myself like, do you want to do that all your life? Like, do you want to wake up every day and do the same thing and wait for your holidays, save money,
and
buy
sometimes going to vacation?
Yeah, going to maybe 1 week in Egypt with my wife and my kids. I don't want that now. So
can I drink?
Yeah. I think it's time for me. It was time for me to do something. No wife, no children, no problem with the bank, no grown-up problems.
When you don't have nobody.
Yeah. So it was time, and I.
Yeah, I think it's the same. I think a lot of people are going like that.
Yeah.
Because they are alone and they want to find. But some people say that you are running from yourself when you do things like that.
No, I think it's just like you're running from what you don't like. Like I don't like the routine. I don't like doing the same thing all the time. And people always tell me you have to buy an apartment, you have to find a wife, you have to buy a car. And why do I have to do that? I mean, some people tell me, so I have to do it. No, I don't like this. I'm, like I want to be free. Like
I can think myself. I can think myself for myself.
Yeah. I don't need people to tell me what to do. I'm an adult now. I know. I know what is good for me.
Yeah, I'm already adult.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, or fortunately.
Yeah. You can be like the boring kind of adult. I don't mean boring, but this kind of adult who likes to take responsibilities and
about wife and kids.
Yeah,
and everything.
Make money and have a serious life. Or you can be the adult who is still a child. I'm an adult because I'm 25 and I can get money. I don't need my parents and everything. So, but I still think like a child. I think like I want to see things. I'm curious. I want to. Сука, блядь. I want to know everything. So.
Yeah, I think you get more, knowledge when you.
Yeah. This is like when I speak with Russian people, for example, I understand life from another point of view. It's the same earth, same things. We have to eat, we have to shit, we have to fuck, we have to do everything the same. But you see the world with different eyes. You know, it's not we don't have the same culture, so I think it's good to have different point of view on things.
So wide, like Russian rivers.
Yeah. I don't see that in France. I don't imagine that in France. So now that I see, it's possible.
But I think if you were traveling a lot, I think this can be, people say sometimes when they go to the worldwide, it's like, oh, this is another waterfall. This is another mountain, river. Oh, okay, yes, we saw a lot of thousands of rivers. So.
Yeah, it's important to see the landscapes and everything, but I think it's more important to meet the people, to talk with the people.
This is the bigger journey than see.
Because you see, I arrived in Irkutsk 3 days ago, and I wanted to see Baikal, because you have to see Baikal when you go to Irkutsk, and it's just that we spent 3 days speaking about everything about in the hostel, and that was like.
Поэтому я видео не выкладывал, потому что у меня был выбор. Мне нужно сюда говорить. У меня был выбор поехать на Байкал, на Ольхон, либо смонтировать видео, но я потратил свое время на разговоры. И помимо Артура в хостеле были другие ребята с интересными историями, и всегда было интереснее разговаривать с ними, не отвлекаться на технику, вообще ни на что, а просто вести диалог с людьми, с которыми ты в обычной жизни никогда бы не увиделся, и просто пообщаться с ними.
Окей.
No, this was just like...
Спасибо, привет. Два? Two? No?
Two?
I don't know. But yeah, it's funny to... Because, when I was in France, I had many problems. I was, I don't have enough money, I need more this, I need more that. And now I'm in Russia, and people are happy. I mean, maybe not happy, but they are really welcoming with me. They take care of me, they help me. And when you tell me that people just have 200 euros at the end of their life, or when you are unemployed, you get 67 euros.
67 euros, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, my problem is like I can put it in my pocket. It's not big, it's
Your
nothing.
Problems are not the problems, just the bills.
Yeah.
Everything depends from money.
Yeah, you can have other problems, but I mean, what is my problem when I hear that you can get beaten by the police, for example? I'm like, my problem is shit. You have problem, and Russia is like, I think it's quite a modern country. So yesterday I was thinking like, okay, this guy has problems, and Russian has problems, but what about Somalians? People in Somalia or in El Salvador, they're like, my problem is not shit. It's like ants shit.
Yes.
It's so small. You have to go to meet people to understand this.
To compare everything.
Yeah.
How to say понять? How to say понять? Understand for yourself, like, in which situation you are.
Yeah.
Now.
Realize.
Yeah. Realize. Like, what was your life in France?
Yeah, and what is life outside?
Because I'm sure that here is not the worst place.
Yeah.
It's not worse to be beaten by police, but be eaten by somebody.
Yeah, by lion or something. What the fuck? But yeah, if you stay in your country all the time and speak with the same people, you just stay in like a bubble, and you see the world outside, but it's just through TV or through what people say, and you think you know things, but you don't experience them. So it's just like a book.
Theory of the life.
Yeah.
And no practice.
Yeah, it's like
you're practicing your small bubble.
Yeah, and there is no, you don't learn anything really. You hear about thing, you think that this thing is like that, and people in Russia are cold, and Indians eat curry all the time, and then you go out and you realize what is the truth, what is the reality we were talking about.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah.
Just like I was thinking, did I ask you a question about like Russian stereotypes and?
No, I don't think you asked it.
So okay, you are in Russia now, and before you come here, you heard a lot of stereotypes.
Yeah.
So what is the main 5, 3? I don't know.
The before I
Yeah,
came
before
to
you
Russia,
come to Russia.
I tell my friends, oh, I'm going to Russia alone. And my mother, my friends, all my family was like, be careful, be careful, you know, Russia, be careful. And the stereotypes are like cold people who drink vodka and like to fight
For sure.
after drinking, and just like this face, you know, like, not talking,
Смурные лица, да?
don't want to talk, just I'm you know, it's cold here.
And the Soviet Union anthems.
Yeah, and communist and everything.
Вставай,
And like the army on the Red Square and everything, and Putin being like, I'm so proud of my country, and everybody is saying like, Putin. No,
Really, you think that we are?
no, maybe
respect him?
10 years ago it was like
Ah.
this, like, Russians are crazy, they voted for Putin again. He's like president since 10 years now, and they still vote for him. But now we are like, okay, Putin is not so popular in Russia. Maybe
But you know how he was winning?
no, it's
Can you imagine how?
yeah. I don't know the truth, but in France and
How it looks like
in Europe they say like he cheated, like
election.
and people
Это не мои слова.
the votes were not counted right, or they forgot some votes, or you know, like they did everything so he could win. But yeah, I don't know if it's true. I mean,
No, if you are sitting so far and imagine this,
yeah, and so we see like Russia is like homophobic, racist people, like they don't like and they don't like women, you know, they don't like female, because in France, for example, like on TV it was very popular to show that women rights were not respected in Russia. You beat female, you
and
kill
about the pussy riot.
pussy, yeah, and you kill Chechens, and you put the gay people in gulag or something like that. And we hear that
This
in
is like, you know, a lot of information, and it's like in big soup
yeah, and we
from the different ages.
yeah, maybe. And when you're in France and you listen things about Russia, when it's political, it's always about this, you know, like Chechnya or war in Ukraine or Crimea, or everything is bad, you know. Sometimes they speak like
What good can you hear about Russia from the local TV?
it's more like if it's not about that, they will say like oh, there is big fire in Siberia, and that's all, you know, like, oh, there was the river flooded a city in Russia, and there was 1,000 people dead, and it's like the news, you know, like Fukushima exploded. It's like the same kind of news, but we don't hear. Oh.
Пейзаж здесь, конечно. То есть ты сидишь, мы сидим на, я не знаю, говорил я это или нет, мы сидим на холме возле камня Черского. Отсюда открывается суперский вид, но вот сейчас мы его, например, не можем видеть, потому что все заволокло тучами. И иногда они проясняются, и мы можем разглядеть там, порт Байкал. А иногда ты просто сидишь как будто бы в лесу, и ты ничего не видишь, кроме... Ну там нет, кстати, там светло.
Yeah,
Их видно.
there's sky, yeah. And we don't hear a lot of good thing. We don't hear good thing, I think. Or maybe like about the Hermitage, or
Some culture.
yeah, culture is. But we don't know any Russian movie, any Russian
Не знаю
music,
почему.
any
Russian music is
no,
not popular.
no,
Do you know any
no, I don't know.
like oxymoron?
Oxymoron, I know, because a guy told me about a guy told me about it in St. Petersburg. Before I come to Russia, I don't know. I didn't
No
know.
one. No one Russian song.
No,
Oh.
no, really no. Maybe I know now because I hear in the streets in St. Petersburg or in Kazan or
Because somebody said
yeah, but
that they're popular.
yeah, but
And
no.
I think that they are super popular.
France is very influenced by USA, you know, because after the Second World War they helped us a lot to rebuild the country and everything, and now we have all these Hollywood movies, and in Hollywood movies it's always the bad guy is always Russian or Chinese, and we always hear the Western point of view.
So this is the kind of propaganda too.
Yeah, this is the propaganda,
because
I think.
You're watching
Because
since you're...
Now I see the difference between what I hear in France and what I see in Russia, you know. In I hear only bad thing about Russia in France, and here I mean I feel safe, I can speak with people, and okay, people don't speak very good English, but
they always want
they always try
to
and
help to you.
yeah, and even in the train I was with two workers for RSD train, and they were, I was sitting with them before sleeping, and they didn't speak like one word, they just say hello. Hello, and that's all. And at the end of the discussion I knew that this guy was 34, that he has 2 kids, that he lives in, I don't know, some village in somewhere in Russia, in Tatarstan, I don't know, and we had to speak, and it was not like do you have brothers like you expect
Let's
from
drink vodka.
Vodka, 2 brothers, 2 women. No, it's not like this. It's like we were laughing, we were having fun, you know. It's
How
like
did you speak?
Google Translation. So it's easy questions, you know.
Yes. Да, чем проще задаешь, тем проще будет человеку перевести предложение, без ошибок. No matter what level of language you speak, if it is possible to you to have the conversation, this is...
Yeah, every Russian apologize for the English, and I always tell them, like, English it's not a language, it's a way to understand each other, you know. Everybody speak English, but it's not, you can make mistake. I mean, it's not my mother language, my native language, it's not yours. I make mistake, you make mistake, but we understand it.
Yes, this is the main.
This is the point of speaking English. And it's funny because they always ask question, you know. I was expect the Russians, and I was expecting like they don't speak English.
No one will speak with you.
Yeah, they don't speak English. They don't care. You know, like I do my shit. I do what I want, what I have to do, and I don't care. But in Russia, I mean, like people they don't speak English, but they're like, you know, signs and everything, trying to speak, and they want to maybe ask question about what is outside Russia, because I met a lot of people who never went outside Russia, so they are curious.
I was going there.
Yeah, but the first question people ask me is, what do you think about Russia? Like, what do they say about Russia outside? Or
so the stereotypes were wrong.
Yeah. But it's like you know, I show you the video about the old guy with Kalashnikov stopping the bus. It makes you laugh. One Russian crazy.
Yeah.
Not every Russian.
But this makes the stereotypes.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
This is like, oh wow. And the next question, which I cannot.
Forget to ask. Not ask you. Like I cannot not ask you. Gramarnadzi.
I can't not to ask you.
Oh.
This.
Oh, this is the perfect sentence. Everything is like. I can't not to ask you.
About the women.
Oh.
This is hard.
About Russian women?
About Russian women. Oh, we can speak about Russian women, about Tinder or something like that.
Oh.
So, you heard about that?
Yeah, the stereotype is that.
Like Russian women are the best.
Yeah, they're tall, they're blonde, blue eyes.
What the most? Listen, girls. French guy says what he says that beauty is.
They are all tall, blonde, blue eyes, big boobs.
Yes.
Yes.
Why not?
Yeah, and always like dressed clothes very close to the body, you know, like
To show the figure.
to show the curves and everything, and a lot of makeup, and always beautiful hair, you know. She got an haircut every day or something like that. And actually, it's pretty true. I mean, many women are like that, and I downloaded Tinder girls.
Ding!
And many women, there's 3 pictures for a woman on Tinder in Russia. It's like one where we can see butt or boobs, like something like this, and one where there is flower, like a big bouquet of flower, and one with I don't know, she's doing sport, or she's smoking shisha, or she's doing something, you know, like.
And not usual that she shows her face.
Yeah, you see the face. Yeah, you see
Or
the face.
sometimes like the part of the face.
Yeah, like. And that's all about the stereotypes about women in Russia, I think. Like.
Anything to add about Russian?
Oh yeah.
I would like.
Like this is so annoying for me. Like Russian women, you have to do everything. You have to ask the question, make all the conversation.
Like you mean you must do first steps.
You must do all the first steps. It's not like I do the first steps, you do the second. It's like I do the first and the second and the third and all the steps, and then I come to your house. You know, and it's like you have to do everything. There is no. They are waiting for you. I feel like, you know, they're not trying to. You know that.
Like they're choosing.
Yeah, in France, when you flirt with a woman, it's like you tickle her, she tickles you. You know, and this is how you get closer. In Russia, I feel like I'm like just tickling and tickling and tickling again, and
It's weird.
just waiting for some reaction. You know, the Russian women, they don't show anything. Yeah. Oh, that's 5 minutes.
Okay.
Mama, take this badge of me. I can't use it anymore. It's getting dark, too dark to see. Feels like I'm knocking on heaven's door. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door.
I take big rocks like this.
You prefer this one?
I don't know.
I like small one.
Yeah, I see. You're a master. Еще у нас было время на исходе, чтобы сидеть и снимать интервью, и поэтому мы поехали от Листвянки поскорее в Иркутск. И сейчас Артур уезжает во Владивосток в свое путешествие. Дальше он поедет в Японию, а потом в Австралию и будет там работать. И возможно, и я туда поеду, буду тоже работать поваром где-нибудь в Австралии. What I wanted to ask you, the last advice to everybody, like what advice you can give?
Revolution for the Russian, and no, the good advice would be don't care about meaningless things, just go simple, be simple, and life will be easier, you see.
Будь сам проще, да, и жить будет легче.
Well, see you, friend.
See you. Все, Артур уехал, я еду в хостел, где буду мазаться сметаной, либо каким-то там еще, я не знаю чем, потому что я сегодня дико как обгорел в Листвянке. И все, и все. Say something.
Сука, бред. Пиздец. Пизда.
Пизда. The easiest questions you ask, the easier answers you get.
Ганди.
О, да. Fuck. Do you... But anyway, no matter... no
Okay,
matter-
next.
But here, it's like, this is... You understand me?